Welcome to my channel about Unity development. In this video, I'm going to talk about three things: if statement, while loop, and for loop. Those are the most basic elements in programming. Let's start with if statement. If statement is to run certain things when a condition is met. Here is a simple example. First, I define some variables, and I put down the condition that I would like to check. In this case, I'm checking if the sum of variables is equal to 2. Notice I have a special symbol in here. With 2 equal sign, that is to check if the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. There are more similar symbols to compare the left and right hand side. We also have this, which means they are not equal. We have larger or equal to, and we also have smaller or equal to, etc. Back to the example, I need to write down what happened when this condition is met. Next, we can also put a else keyword to define what happened when the condition is not met. And last, we can put down the keyword else if to check if the second condition is met, in case the first one doesn't become true. Then we can always put an else down here to state what would happen if none of those conditions are true. There are scenarios where we want to check if more one condition are met. To do this, we use this symbol. So in this case, we put down the condition like this. On the other hand, if we want to check if one of those conditions is met, we use this symbol. So we put down our statement like this. Now let's look at the while loop. Here is example. Similar to if statement, we first have to define our conditions. And as long as this condition remains true, this block of code will run again and again. When using while loop, we have to make sure that there is a way to make the condition become false at some point. Otherwise, this will run forever and cause a bug. In this case, I have a variable here, and each time it finishes this block of code, I will increase this variable by 1. And eventually this variable will be no longer less than 20 and get off this while loop. Another way we use the while loop is we put the condition at the end like this. This means before checking the conditions, this block of code will run at least once, then check the condition later. And next, we have the for loop. Here is a simple example for a for loop. Like the previous two, we will need to define this condition. And in for loop, we have to start with the integer. It can be a variable that used elsewhere in the script, or we can define it right in the for loop like this, showing in here. And we need to check if the integer is more or less than a certain number. Then once the content inside the for loop is finished running it once, the integer will be increased by 1, like I have put in here. You can always put different action in here, like instead of increasing by 1, you can put a subtract in here. But you have to make sure this for loop will get executed completely. If we switch from increasing 1 to subtracting by 1, this means this integer will never reach to 20 in here, and also mean this for loop will be never ended. You might as well use a while loop in this case. For loop is usually being used with an array and a list. Because of the integer we define here, we can use this to manipulate the value of an array or a list. I think this is all for today's video. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe and hit a like on this video. I hope I can see you soon. Goodbye.